You're not broke. It's 11:47 p.m. You're scrolling in bed. You see the future me shoes, $280. Then the magic words, 4 easy payments. Your brain says, that's basically free. You tap buy now. You didn't buy shoes. You rented happiness from your future self. And that's how buy now, pay later hacks your brain. Keep watching and you'll notice exactly why your brain said yes long before your budget showed up. A few weeks later, the shoes arrive. You wear them once, maybe twice. They don't fix your life. They don't make you happier. They definitely don't make people respect you more. But the payments? Oh, the payments show up religiously. $70. And what's wild is, none of them feel big enough to panic about. That's the trick. Buy now, pay later doesn't punch you in the face like a credit card. It taps you on the shoulder, repeatedly, gently, until your bank account starts crying. And you're not alone. BNPL is expected to surpass $560 billion in transaction volume, with nearly a billion users globally in the next few years. That's not a niche product. That's a global coping mechanism. So what exactly is buy now, pay later? Because it didn't just appear out of nowhere. The idea actually isn't new. Back in the day, there was something called layaway. You picked an item, you paid for it slowly, and only after you finished paying, you got the thing. Pain first, reward later. BNPL flipped that completely. Now you get the product immediately, and the payments chase you like unpaid parking tickets. Same math, opposite psychology. In the early 2000s, PayPal Credit tested the waters. Then companies like Afterpay, Klarna, and Affirm showed up with a simple pitch. What if debt didn't feel like debt? No APR charts, no scary language, no adult supervision, just small payments, friendly fonts, soft colors, and vibes. It's not borrowing, it's splitting. It's not debt, it's flexibility, it's layaway in reverse, and it works really well. So how do BNPL companies make money if everything is interest-free? Because no one is funding your dopamine out of kindness. There are 4 main ways. First, merchant fees. This is the big one. When you use BNPL, the store pays the provider a fee, usually 4% to 6% of the transaction. That's 2 to 3 times more than Visa or MasterCard. Why would retailers agree to that? Because BNPL does 2 magical things. Fewer abandoned carts, bigger purchases. Instead of thinking, do I want to spend $280? You think, can I survive $70? And suddenly you're upgrading, adding accessories, buying the better version. Analysts estimate billions of dollars have already shifted from traditional credit cards to BNPL for this exact reason. Second, late fees. Sure, it's interest-free until you forget. And a lot of people forget. Industry surveys show roughly 40% of BNPL users pay late at least once. That's when BNPL gently clears its throat and says, hey, remember when this was free? Third, interest on long-term plans. Short-term pay in 4 is usually interest-free, but bigger stuff, laptops, furniture, vacations, emotional support shopping, that's where APR shows up. Some providers charge up to 36%. At that point, it's just a credit card wearing better marketing. Fourth, interchange fees. BNPL companies now offer physical and virtual cards. Every swipe earns them money, just like traditional banks. So the business model is simple. Retailers pay because you spend more. You pay if you're late, you pay on long-term plans, and your future self pays for decisions you barely remember making. And now comes the part they don't advertise, the psychology. Because BNPL isn't just a payment option, it's behavioral science with a checkout button. And it uses the same principles studied by Nobel Prize-winning economists. They figured out how humans make bad money decisions. BNPL figured out how to monetize that. First, present bias. Humans are wired to value now over later. That's why diets start Monday. That's why savings start next month. That's why future you is always the responsible one. BNPL feeds directly into that. You get the item now. The pain gets delayed. Economists call this hyperbolic discounting. BNPL calls it flexibility. Studies show people spend more using BNPL than debit cards simply because the pain is postponed. Second, mental accounting. Your brain loves categories: rent money, food money, fun money. BNPL slices one big painful payment into smaller ones, and your brain files them under not a big deal, except nothing got cheaper. You just tricked yourself. That's how people end up with credit card debt and BNPL debt, because mentally they feel separate. Same wallet, same money, double regret. Quick pause. If this is already sounding uncomfortably familiar, you're not broken. This stuff is designed to work. And if breakdowns like this help things click for you, that's your quiet reminder to hit like and subscribe. It tells the algorithm and your future self that this is worth sticking with. Because in a second, we're getting to the part they never show you. The moment when this convenience quietly turns into control. Now back to the trap. Third, zero friction. BNPL doesn't wait at checkout. It shows up on the product page. That's called choice architecture, making the easiest option the one they want you to pick. Credit cards ask questions. BNPL asks for vibes. Name, phone number, one tap. Congratulations, you're in debt. Fourth, gamification. BNPL apps don't look like finance tools. They look like games. Progress bars, streaks, rewards, on-time payment badges. You feel responsible while financing socks. A 2024 study found users literally describe BNPL as fun. When debt feels like leveling up, that's not an accident, that's the product. So is BNPL better than credit cards? Not really. They're like cousins who hate each other publicly, but team up to ruin your finances privately. Credit cards are honest in a brutal way. They tell you the APR and then dare you to mess up. BNPL is nicer. It feels supportive, encouraging, non-judgmental, and that's why people trust it. Surveys show younger consumers prefer BNPL because it feels less intimidating. Here's the twist though. BNPL isn't replacing credit cards. It's stacking on top of them. Regulators found BNPL users are more likely to carry higher credit card balances, not lower. People don't use BNPL because they don't need credit. They use it because their credit is already exhausted. And stacking is common. Most users take multiple BNPL loans at once. Many use more than one provider. It starts small, $40 here, $60 there, $90 somewhere else, until your paycheck shows up pre-spent by past you. 1 in 3 users literally forgets what they owe. That's not a budgeting problem. That's a design feature. And here's the part that hurts the most. A majority of lower-income users say BNPL is the only way they can afford basic purchases. Not luxuries, necessities, groceries, gas, essentials. That's when BNPL stops being convenient and starts being a quiet warning sign. This is the moment future you logs into their bank account, sees 5 auto-pay charges, and realizes the hack worked. Not on the system, on you. So what do? BNPL isn't evil. It's just honest about profits and dishonest about psychology. If you can afford it and you track it, fine. But if you're using future money to feel better today, that's the trade you're making. Because BNPL doesn't remove the cost, it just hides it. And now you know how, which was the point of this video. If you want to stop getting hacked, the first step is seeing the code. And if this made you rethink even one easy payment, that's your sign you're not bad with money, you're just human. So if this helped you see things more clearly, hit like and subscribe. It tells the algorithm this kind of content matters, and it tells your future self you're paying attention. Because the decisions you don't think about today are the ones that cost you the most tomorrow. Your future self will thank you.